When we were here, we had something to our advantage that we no longer have here. We are blind here. Here we weren't. We were seeing. Why? Because God provided us with everything we needed here. And none of it was comfrey or rice and beans. There were no tofu. There were no soy there. There were no cows. And there were no hogs, no chicken. There were no flour. Those things didn't come from Africa. You see rice and beans and flour and cheese and meat and the starch that you eat, they all came from right here, from a laboratory. Now, for us to eat, you have to have in your big skull the understanding of biochemistry. But when we were here, we didn't have to know anything about biochemistry. Why? Because God doesn't make poisons. You see, God.
We'd like to welcome you again to another episode of Moving Mountains. We talked to you about bringing to you more information on Dr. Sebi. I'm Samaya Simone.
And I'm Sheila.
And that's Sheila Ely. She froze a little bit. And we have with us today Zahir Rashed. And he's going to talk to us today about the Dr. Sebi lifestyle.
Yes.
Zahir, can you tell us a little bit about, first tell us about yourself and how you got into this, and tell us about Dr. Sebi.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give it like a long version, but I'm going to tell you a short version. So pretty much, since I noticed that in like 1993, I started getting like real bad heartburn and stuff like that. And I knew something was up. So I pretty much went through all the gamut of tests and upper GIs and colonoscopies, and doctors could never really tell me anything. You know what I mean? So I pretty much went vegetarian at first, and then I went vegan because I started to feel a little bit better or whatever like that. And still at that point, I was still suffering from the same stuff, like just upset stomach all the time and stuff like that. And I just didn't feel good, you know what I mean? And then I had heard about Dr. Sebi probably like, I'm gonna say about 8 years ago, something like that. And I heard about him, but I never really looked into it. And then probably like 2 years after that, that's when I really, something came across Facebook, and that's when I looked into it. And, I just been on the journey ever since, you know what I mean? And I was able to, because I had suffered from like joint pain and stuff like that, like all my joints, like I would sweat, like me and my wife would go out and we would go to whatever, Target or Walmart, and within like 5 or 10 minutes, like my ankles would swell up, you know what I mean? And I had all kind of joint pain and stuff like that. So with following the Dr. Sebi lifestyle, I've been able to heal like certain things like that, even with like allergies. I never suffered from allergies, but then, as I gotten older, I'm 45 now, but as I had gotten older, I noticed that I just developed just allergies out of nowhere or whatever like that. So then that got pretty bad, all the itching and all that stuff like that. So then when I started following this lifestyle, things got better for me, and I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at right now, and it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing healing journey. So it's not something that happens overnight. You have to put the work in.
It takes a while to heal, because Dr. Sebi talked about nutritional health and what it would take to heal our bodies. And he said that mucus buildup, and we hear this all the time, was the cause of a lot of illness, diabetes. He would talk about arthritis, joint pain, buildup in our lungs and bronchial tissue. And his diet over the years, I would say lifestyle, because it's not a diet, it's the way we should
There you go. That's
actually
the
live,
perfect word for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
how we live, would be key in helping to overcome that without the need of medication.
Right.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of, well, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
no,
somebody.
I was just going to ask you, can you tell us for our audience, because some people aren't going to know who Dr. Sebi is. Could you tell us a little bit about him?
Dr. Sebi was from Honduras, and um, he never went to school. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I only know what I know. I don't know his full story, but he never went to school or anything like that. And I think at a very young age, he had suffered from like impotence and stuff like that. And then he wound up meeting a Mexican herbalist, and he started teaching him about herbs and stuff like that, and like healing the body and stuff like that. And he was able to reverse a lot of those things, those different ailments that he had. So with that, with him learning like all of the how different herbs work in the body and stuff like that, he really started studying it and stuff like that. He was also, if I'm not mistaken, he went to school. I can't remember offhand, but he went to school for something and like studying the body and stuff like that. And yeah, he just started, like, I guess, mixing herbs and stuff, trying it, on himself and see how it was doing for him and his family. And he just got really into herbs. He started, and then he went into like the bush of Africa, and traveled to different countries, and actually went in and spoke to medicine men and women. So it was not like he was on the internet or anything like that. Or you would hear him talk about like just he didn't really talk like in favor of studying in books. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He went amongst the people and spoke amongst the people, and then he just started healing people, and he's healed a lot of different celebrities and stuff like that. And one of them was
But what he understood,
say it again.
was that knowledge didn't come from books; it came from
Nature.
folklore and nature and what people could tell. And he discovered in those bushes the detox protocol that he used.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so crucial to helping the body to begin to heal. I understood what he was talking about because he traveled to New Orleans a lot. New Orleans has a huge Honduran population.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yep. And one of his best friends is still living in New Orleans. So he would come to New Orleans all the time. He gave seminars because I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah.
My son ended up with vaccine injury, and I learned about him. And I discovered a whole lot of what he said. When you apply it, it actually helps the body to overcome disease. And he would say all the time that disease was just the body's ability to tell you that it is out of order.
Yeah, out of balance. Yep.
And out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember that hearing that he had actually been taken to court in New York for saying that he cured cancer.
Yeah.
And he won the case.
Right. Yeah. The New York Supreme Court. He had wound up, I think the judge had asked him to bring like a certain amount of people that he had healed. Mm-hmm. And like, I think like 70 something people showed up to court. And so pretty much what they, obviously they were taking his herbs and stuff like that. And what they did was, from my understanding, is that they pretty much bought all the results from their doctors, like all the blood tests and all of that stuff, and went and showed it to the judge. And yeah, I mean,
and this is basically, to me, it seems like what he did was he harnessed ancestral, our ancient knowledge,
right,
that we were told to ignore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where it to me, the way I see it is that he took he took the physical body, right, and he took the mental body, and he kind of like bridged those that gap, like as far as like, because food is information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
he took your mind, but he takes your mind back to how we used to eat, however long ago, originally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so he just went from one extreme to the other, like, because with this lifestyle, it's a plant-based biomineral balanced lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it deals with alkaline food. So the thing is, it's like when you say plant-based or you say vegan, and then you say alkaline, they're like totally different things, because there are a lot of vegans that still eat a lot of processed food, a lot of hybrid food and stuff like that. So this particular lifestyle deals with things before they became altered by man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he
Mm-hmm.
took us back to the foundation of things when we were in the jungles or wherever. You know what I mean? We lived off of how food grew in that region. You know what I mean? We weren't in this is before laboratories was even thought of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You couldn't order any vitamins off of Amazon, pretty much.
No. Yeah. So even, even like, people also need to understand, like, with this lifestyle, when we talk about our ancestors, just because we say that they're our ancestors don't mean that they were eating properly.
Mm-hmm.
They may have been eating better than, of course, how we eat today, because as we know, as time goes on, there's more processed food on the shelves. There's more, colorings and flavorings, and, everything is about, money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much about health. And that's pretty much what he did with his lifestyle. He pretty much, took us back to healing. You know what I mean? To giving us herbs and food or whatever that our natural bodies can recognize. So that's pretty much what this lifestyle is about. You know what I mean? Because when you do that, when you eat the right food and you give your body the right information, then your conscious level rises. You know what I'm saying? Then you start to vibrate higher, and you start to connect with people who vibrate like you.
Right.
So that's why I said what you eat ultimately affects what comes out of your mouth, and how you think, and how you move, how you look. You see what I'm saying? So he connected the body and the mind together, to me,
Mm-hmm.
with this lifestyle, because like I said, there are a lot of vegans out there that they're still eating processed food and stuff like that. And it's really kind of like detrimental, because over time, the thing is, there are a lot of good herbs out there, or there are even bad herbs out there with good qualities.
Mm.
But he says if you take those herbs over time, that's it. That's when it will hurt you. It may not hurt you right then and there. Over a progression, it will hurt you.
So that's a new concept. Bad herbs with good qualities.
Yeah, it's the balance of life, because not everything is bad. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I want to hold that thought just for a minute so that we can walk our audience through what the Sebi lifestyle is. Like, can you, and then I want to come back to the bad, to the bad herbs with good qualities, because that's the first time I've actually heard that. You know what I mean? And I think it's important, because you may think, well, I'm taking an herb, that that's great. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the things that was important to him, though, was our body's cellular system. Cell foods were at the top of the list of how we start the healing process.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
So Zahir, what is the Sebi lifestyle? Like, if you were gonna
Mm-hmm.
sum it up for the audience, not sum it up, but just what is it?
Pretty much the Sebi lifestyle, as you said, like earlier when we were talking, you become your own self savior. You're saving yourself, and you're taking responsibility for everything that you can control. You see what I'm saying? Because you have food contamination, you have product contamination, meaning what we put on our skin, what we put in our hair, what we put in our mouth, brushing our teeth, deodorant and stuff like that. And these are things that you can control. So it's pretty much you're taking control over your life. You're the driver. You're not dependent on any doctor or physician to pretty much run your life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you think about it, right, they say America is the richest country, right? We're supposed to be the most powerful, right? But we're probably the sickest. You know what I'm saying?
We are.
Yeah, we are.
And we have an obligation to look at ourselves first. I think we're such a fast society. Everyone is in such a hurry until all the convenience food has taken you away from cooking your own food. No one grows, pretty much no one grows their own food anymore. We had all of these small farms before, or people who would have gardens in their backyards growing just herbs, some people,
Right.
and simple things that they could grow, and you don't have that anymore. And then when you feel sick, everyone wants to rush and get a quick pill and a quick fix.
Right.
And that's what Western medicine does. It's a Band-Aid effect because the disease is still there. So you put a Band-Aid on it for now, and that the blister won't fester and it won't boil over. But yet underneath the skin, while the top surface may look okay, underneath is raging.
Right.
And you developed all of these other illnesses.
Right.
So what he talked about was healing from within to without. And not walking around as though we're helpless, but empowering us to be our own masters of our own nutrition and our own health. And that's what we have to get back to, and we have to understand. We don't live to eat. We should eat to live. And
Right.
there is a difference in that.
Right.
Everything's not going to taste like gumbo.
I couldn't have summed it up any better. That was like perfect. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that it's just liberating to know that there are other people who can see through the fog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it's amazing though. I'll tell you this. I started this journey some years ago, and a lot of the people who were questioning it, making fun of it, and stuff like that, now, like today, I sit back and I'm like, sometimes people don't get it right away, or it takes them a while, or it takes them years. But when you see that they're finally coming around, it makes you feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They see you, they see what's going on. And then, you know what, even with this pandemic right now that we're going through, a lot of people are forced to wake up, even if they don't want to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a gift and a curse kind of thing. It's sad what we're going through, but this knowledge that we have with the herbs and healing and stuff like that, it's like it's coming around. You know what I mean? So it makes me feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. It's a rude awakening, pretty much. You froze. I didn't hear what you said. Sure.
And the other thing that was so important to Dr. Sebi was mental health.
Right.
He dealt a lot with mental health and the foods that could heal those conditions. And he didn't believe in putting anything into your body. And when we look at what's happening out here, even with our children, nutrition begins in the womb, it permeates outside of the womb and carries you through life. And the 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 medicine men he used, all of those natural healers that he used indigenous people for those who understood, and like you said, some of my ancestral culture and eating habits and healing. And we can't get away from that, but we have. So
Yeah.
now it's time for us to go back to that. And what a perfect time. You're quarantined anyway to start doing
Good.
research on this.
Exactly. Exactly. Use this as a reset.
Look at it.
Right.
That's right. Let's have a reset.
A reset.
Use
Right,
it as
right.
a reset.
Right. That's why I say it's a gift and a curse, because
Right.
you can really it makes you go inside,
Right.
you know,
Right.
whether you want to or not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, we were talking earlier about G6PD deficiency,
Yeah.
and Samaya and I just honestly stumbled on the fact that his protocol fits that eating protocol, the way that we actually should be eating if we have this particular deficiency. But what it tells me is this the way we should be eating anyway
Right.
as human living beings.
Right.
Right.
Well, you know, I've never heard him really mention, of course not that, because I never heard that before. But I don't think I
No,
ever
I've never heard that either.
Never heard it either.
I never really heard him mention any other plants. If he did mention it, like when he talks about spinach and he talks about moringa, he has videos, because that's pretty much what I do. I studied a lot of the videos. I call the office and stuff like that. I try not to worship the man, because a lot of people do worship him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's fine if that's what you want to do, but that's just not me. I'm pretty much trying to get the gist of what, you know, what the message was, or what he teaches,
Yeah.
or whatever like that. I went off. I'm sorry, I forgot what I.
I know.
So you were talking about moringa and you were
Oh,
talking about spinach.
yeah. All right. So moringa and spinach, like he had a video talking about it, and a lot of people like took the wrong perspective of it. They thought that he was talking good about it, but he wasn't. He wasn't talking about moringa and spinach. He was talking about, because like when you were talking about, what was the G6 you said? What is it called again?
G6PD deficiency, yes.
Okay. Well, he was talking about the Ayurvedic system, which is, and I think it's an Indian, or I think it's like an Indian kind of
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
Indian
plant or something like that. I never really looked into it.
system. Yeah.
Right. So that's
Yes,
what he
yes.
was. That's what he was doing. He was comparing, you know, alkaline foods and alkaline herbs to that, you know. But he wasn't. I'm gonna be honest. I guess the video is not really clear. But when you like look at it over and over again, you go, okay, yeah, he wasn't really speaking. He didn't come out and say like, you know, it's not good. But
Mhm.
he was just kind of like comparing it, like, and you can tell like. And that's the thing, when you raise your vibrations,
Mhm.
you can look at things and see things
Yeah.
differently. You know what I mean? The way you interpret it and your perspective may be a little different, because you're like, okay, I'm watching his body language. I'm watching how he says things. You know what I mean? I'm paying attention to all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, yeah, he wasn't really talking good about it. You know what I mean? So he didn't
And
really
those
talk
two
about
foods,
other systems. Huh?
yeah, those two foods are not good for G6PD deficiency. You should avoid them.
Right.
But you know what? Here's the thing. You know, that list, right? The alkaline list is not,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, specific for
It's not
everybody,
specific to anything, right? Or for
because
everything.
when you suffer from IBS, okay, because I suffer from IBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things on that list that I just can't eat because it bothers my system. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you gotta kind of like you gotta kind of like experiment. That's what I want to say, not play, but you have to experiment. You're mastering yourself, right? So you
Mhm.
have to experiment with certain things to know what your body is going to accept and what your body isn't going to accept. So
Right.
that's the thing. Like he has a list, and you got to take what's off that list and apply it to your life. So you take the best part and you throw out the rest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's pretty much what I had to do.
So can you tell us some of the stuff that's on the list, like some of the things that he said to eat and some of the things he said not to eat?
That's on the list?
Yeah, like what were some of the things, just so the audience can have an understanding of what is required of the lifestyle? What do you eat? What can you eat? And what should you stay away from?
Well, you want to mainly, what I tell people, like who know nothing about the lifestyle and they want to embark on this journey, I say most of your money, like when you go to the supermarket or anything like that, if you're not growing your own food, which is recommended,
Mm-hmm.
but most people are not growing their own food. So if you go to the supermarket, you want to be in the produce section.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you want to, buy fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
You don't consume meat. You don't consume dairy. Anything like blood and starch is pretty much what he says. So anything that bleeds, any type of starches, any type of sugars, the flours, the white flours, the wheat flours, there are ancient grains that are on the nutritional guide, like teff, kamut,
Mm-hmm.
what else is on there?
Well,
Spelt. Yeah, those are like ancient grains. So
yeah,
those
are seaweed on there.
Yeah. So things like sea moss, like sea vegetables. Those are probably the most nutritious vegetables that you're gonna eat, like sea moss. We have a company, and we sell sea moss, and we sell some of the herbs and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, and it's cypherliving.com.
You'll have to give me the link so I can link it in this video so that people know where to find you.
No problem.
Yeah, and I'll buy my next sea moss from you because I buy it out of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, all sea moss is beneficial, and pretty much all sea vegetables are beneficial. So that's great that you're consuming that. What else was I gonna say? All right, so you got sea moss, you got the grain.
What's important is
Oh, right, and rice too. You want to stay away from the rice.
Mm-hmm.
We have wild rice, which is an ancient rice.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. It's pretty much what you're doing is you're taking what you normally eat and you're finding a substitute off this list. And you'd be amazed. Like, I don't know if you guys follow anybody like on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that who are who make recipes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. People are really creative. Like even my wife, me too. I cook a little bit. My wife, she cooks most of the food, but you can get really creative and mimic a lot of the things that you're used to eating, like fried chicken or stuff like that. You can make like you're supposed to saute, because Dr. Sebi didn't like to use fried, because when you think of fried, you're talking about immersing it in oil, in too much oil. Right. You know what I'm saying? That oil. I guess when you're talking about things you want to kind of like stay away from, that's on the list, because you do have some oils on the list, like olive oil and grapeseed oil and stuff like that, and stay away from consuming too much of that, because water and oil don't mix. So I guess that's one of the things you could say you might want to stay away from. But pretty much anything that's on a nutritional guide is supposed to feed your cells.
Right. So can you tell the audience what the nutritional guide is?
The nutritional guide is just a list of alkaline foods that, to consume to help heal your body, or to help raise, your levels in your body, to keep, optimal, health. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is one of the things that Dr. Sebi says is, because we consume so many different acidic foods and we use so many different acidic products and stuff like that on our skin and stuff like that, it depletes oxygen in the body. So most of us are walking around dehydrated. I'm gonna say probably about 98% of us are walking around dehydrated because of what we consume.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not only that, his big thing is spring water. You have to um, drink. You have to drink water. You know what I mean? And his method is pretty much a gallon a day. You know what I mean? So you're introducing that oxygen in your body. When people have headaches and stuff like that, like migraines and stuff like that, a lot of times it's because we lack water. We got to drink enough water. You know what I'm saying?
So
So
that's funny you say oxygen too, because in the middle of this pandemic, one of the things that people are who are getting sick and dying, it's from lack of oxygen. Like
Right.
they're being cut off
right,
from their body being able to uptake oxygen.
That's
right.
right.
With this pandemic is mainly respiratory.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And one of the like Sheila had said earlier, mucus is the cause of all disease.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times that's what's happening. Everybody who is passing away from this has pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's mucus. That's mucus in the lungs.
Right. Right.
You know. So yeah,
And
that
it's
was a good point.
crystallizing too, from what I've heard. Like looking at some of the latest stuff coming out, that they're getting mucus, and the mucus is hardening. And I would think that would be easier to do in a body that's not hydrated, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why because I know pretty much, what they've been pretty much saying in the media, but also, researching a little bit on my own that they're saying that it's causing like permanent damage. Because they say it starts off in your sinuses, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And if you let it go too long, it gets into your bronchioles and your lungs and stuff. And they say once it reaches your lungs, it can cause permanent damage.
Right. Especially if they put you on the machine. Like if they put you
Right. The
On the
ventilator.
the
ventilator.
ventilator, right?
Right.
That
Suffocates you.
causes damage.
Right. I saw that too. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
But high oxygen and a CPAP machine is having better outlook. I mean, and why is that? Could it be because you're introducing oxygen into the body?
Mhm.
The ventilator suffocates the body. It just suffocates it. It doesn't do anything. Hyperbarics puts oxygen in the body. It's having a pretty good run of healing folk with this condition.
Oh, really?
Hyperbarics is doing a remarkable job. Matter of fact, one of the doctors in New Orleans, Dr. Harsh, he's just been granted the opportunity to move into one of the New York hospitals in New York City with
Oh,
his hyperbaric machines
that's big.
and it's huge, and use that
good.
on the patients that are there. So that's where that's headed, because they want to do a study. So there's a reason what Dr. Sebi has been saying all of these years, what we know to be true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If we are oxygen depleted, which is what happens when you go into a G6PD crisis,
Mm,
and you don't put the right things back in, the organs start to fail and they shut down.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah,
You think there's some type of connection, definitely.
yeah.
Now earlier I asked you, and I don't know if you was breaking up or I didn't. Maybe I didn't get it. I was asking you what actually caused it. You said something about the creator,
Yes.
but what are they saying that's causing the actual deficiency? Is it something that we're doing or
No,
not doing?
no, the deficiency is not anything that we're not doing. So what God so intelligently did in order to protect those who lived along the coastlines,
Oh,
sub-Saharan coastlines and coastlines in the Mediterranean and Italy, where malaria was so bad and Mediterranean fever was so bad, he caused the gene to become deficient. He turned off a mechanism part of it. And because that part was turned off, they were able to survive through the Malarian bites, through the Mediterranean fever, and life was able to thrive. So it's not a bad thing to have it. It's just some people never have any symptoms, especially if they eat right. It's just over time, if the body goes into, let's say, a state of shock where you're not eating well, or you could be eating well, but you're exposed to all of these chemicals, you have underlying conditions that are presenting itself. The body, the deficiency in that body, and you're piling this stuff on and on and on, it will cause the body to shut down. I'll give you a perfect example. I was taking high dose vitamin C IVs because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to take them.
Yeah.
And after just the third IV, I got the worst headache I'd ever had. My brain was popping, and I could feel my spleen doing this. I went into convulsions,
Wow.
and I was pouring my red blood cells out of my marrow.
Whoa.
I mean, they call that hemolysis. And it's a very dangerous condition. It can kill you when you start pouring them out. But I did the things I needed to do to get my body back on track. And I got back on track. However, had I gone into an emergency room, they would have given me blood or iron. The iron would have killed me immediately. Now, I've had 7 blood transfusions, and when I look back, that's probably why I had them. Because thank God they didn't give me iron, because the iron part would have killed me, because you can't do it like that. So right then and there, I said, there is a serious problem here. Now, it's not that I didn't know I had it, but in my own ignorance, no one told me that I had to do anything beyond avoiding fava beans, and that's not true. So when I went back and I started researching, okay, what's going on here and what happened to me? And Sterling Hill was the one that told me. I couldn't believe the foods that I shouldn't have been eating. The supplements that I can't ever take again, and the supplements that anyone with this condition shouldn't have, even the medications. There are certain medications we definitely cannot have. It's all there. So even though they say it's rare, there are groups of people who have put all this information together. It's all there. And what Samaya and I hope to do is get this information out there, because the majority of the people suffering with this are people who look like us.
Yeah, I would like
And
to.
they don't know it.
And for the audience, 1 second, I just want to say to the audience that Sheila's talking about the G6PD deficiency.
Yes.
The genetic. And really, they say deficiency, but it wasn't a deficiency when you were living in Africa, right?
Right.
It also impacts people of African descent. So even Italian, people who lived in the Mediterranean, some Israeli, anybody of African descent could have this gene. And it's 1 out of 10 African men, right?
Yeah, well, it's 1 out of 10 men, period, African or African American.
Right. 1 out of 10
1 out of 10
African American men could have this, do have this deficiency.
do have it, and 1 out of 30 women.
Women. Right. So I just wanted to, so go ahead, Zahir, what were you saying?
No, I wanted to ask you about. I thought you said that when we were in Africa back then, that you said we were deficient then, right? Or are you saying we're deficient now?
Yeah, no, we were deficient then, because in Africa along the coastline is where you get all of the malaria. And malaria was a huge problem. So God, in his wisdom, he said, okay, let's turn off a mechanism of this gene, make it deficient so that they can survive. God has a way for us to survive. You know, when we talk about viruses and we talk about conditions, the master decides on all of that. Viruses were here before we even got here. Now, the key is, how do you live with it? Because malaria is a virus. So instead of killing off mass populations back then, that gene became deficient. It adapted to the environment, is what I should say. It adapted.
Right.
And where did the majority of the slaves come from? They came from around the coastline where they were taking them, sub-Saharan coastline. So they brought the deficiency with them when they came over.
Okay.
And as a result, many of us have the DNA imprint that was passed down from generation to generation, because it is a genetic condition. The mother passes it on to the son, always passes it on to the son, and the father can pass it on to either the son or the daughter.
Now, what's interesting about that is about because they say, you know how they say like certain things run in your family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like diabetes,
Right.
like my grandmother, she passed from diabetes. My mom had it.
Mm-hmm.
I was pre-diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And through living this lifestyle, we was able to stop it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is interesting you're saying that about that deficiency. And I'm wondering if following the lifestyle,
Yes.
you can protect yourself from being deficient. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, you can. You can protect yourself from going into that deficiency crisis.
Well, and that's the thing. Like Dr. Sebi says that mucus is the cause of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any type of ailment in your body, any type of deficiency,
Mm-hmm.
what have you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So his method is that if you put the right information in your body, you're pretty much, and this aligns with what we got going on now with the COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking
Right.
about what it attacks people who have a compromised immune system.
Yes.
So if we follow this lifestyle, right, and we take the proper herbs like elderberry. Elderberry is a very big herb, okay? And it's great for the flu, is great for colds and stuff like that, and it helps build your immune system. So that's pretty much the basis of the lifestyle is pretty much if you put the right information, they say disease or ailment can't live in an alkaline environment.
And even the compromised can have a good outcome if they eat well and they understand how their body works,
Right.
what should be put into that body. Because I am very compromised, and there's a way to do this. Our genetics only make up 25% of what may happen. Now we got a whole 75% of the rest of it out there of what won't happen. So we can't always look at genetics, as Dr. Sebi said. It really, the deficiencies, the genetics, they don't matter as much as how you treat the body. That's why we can take a very premature baby, save that baby's life, nourish that baby, and that child will have a fabulous life. Doesn't matter if it was nursed or not nursed. It depends on what goes into the body and on the skin. If you're going to spend your money anywhere, and I tell people this all the time, put it in your body and on your skin. What you put on top, your clothing, can be the cheapest. But what you rub on and what you put in, that's where your money should be spent.
Absolutely. I agree with that. 100%. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a process, you know what I mean? It's a journey to get to that point. I wasn't always here, you know what I mean?
Right.
It took me a long time. It took me a long time. It took
And we do it with love. We try to educate with love and our own personal examples. That's why I always talk about myself, not because I want to, because as you know, as anyone, we want to keep our personal deepest injuries or thoughts to ourselves. But I tell it, I talk about it because I hope that through what I've been through, my example will help someone else. And we have to do that for each other, just like you're talking about your journey and what happened to you. And one of the things that we know could be a G6PD deficiency is the amount of diabetes, heart disease that we have out here, and all of the arthritis and other conditions within the Black community. But no one tests for this. But do we necessarily need a test, or do we need, and this is something we can discuss amongst the three of us, do we need a test, or do we just need a lifestyle adjustment? Stop looking at how we eat as a diet for a temporary period of time and start thinking about the nutritional things that need to go into our bodies according to who we are from the motherland all the way to this date, because you don't lose those imprints just because we've evolved over several generations. Those imprints are still there. Do we consider our nutrition to be the biggest part of who we are and stop talking about the genetics altogether.
It is.
Right.
I agree. I think so too.
That's the biggest part, because the way I see it, right? The mind in the universe is infinite, right?
Yes.
The body is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Your
Mhm.
body is only here for a certain amount of time, but your mind lives forever.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want your body to perform at its highest that it can perform at, you have to put the right information in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect to your higher mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
that's the way I see it. Food is information. Like, we're so used to and trained to and indoctrinated to look at food to taste good,
Right.
or
Right.
to look good.
Right.
We're not concerned with the information or what it's doing to our body. We're not in tune with how our body systems work and why they work and how they're in conjunction with each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's crazy, because you hear this term as you come up, right? You are what you eat.
Right.
Now it means more to
Right.
me than anything, because it's true. Because what you put in your body is how you are presented, to the physical eye.
Mm-hmm. That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
And you know, the thing is, we have so many external factors coming at us that our grandparents and even some of our parents didn't have until we're presented with illnesses a whole lot sooner, a whole lot earlier in our lives
Big
than
time.
they ever did. So
Right.
it is important that not only do we set the example and start over with how we look at food and how we look at our lifestyle,
Mhm.
but we teach our children that lesson also, because that's an important lesson to teach.
Oh,
Absolutely.
oh
And
yeah.
that's what I'm teaching my son right now. He's 7, and him coming up, he was a very picky eater. So it's like, certain things that you try to give him, he ain't having it. But he hasn't had meat
Good.
since he's been young, since he's been born, and he loves water.
Good.
Loves it. He'll drink water all day before he drinks any type of juice or anything like that. So,
That's important.
That is.
the babies, man. I say the
That's what
babies
you
are
gotta
the
do.
greatest. They're our future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you said something that was key to me. You talked about food being information, right? That it actually brings intelligence into your body,
Mhm.
you know? So talk a little bit more about that. Like if I'm eating, because I know, and I guess we can link the list if you don't mind sending it to me. I'll link it when I put this up to the alkaline food list. But
Mhm.
if I take a particular herb or I eat a particular food, that it's not just nutrients I'm getting, right? Like you're talking about something else.
Well, within the nutrients is the information, because it speaks to your cells.
Mm,
See what I'm saying? Because food is supposed to be natural. Food is supposed to come with the planet. You know what I mean? Like, everything that you see, is here for a reason. You know what I mean? It's here for a natural reason.
right.
So that's the type of information, because you have minerals in those food, and your body is made up of these minerals. So that's the information. It's pretty much you're making a connection with food, but on a cellular level. So that's what pretty much Dr. Sebi, pretty much just what this lifestyle is about, is you're speaking to your cells on a cellular level. You know what I mean? You're giving the cells the proper nutrients that the cells need to thrive, you know, at its highest. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So
Right.
that's what I say, like, food is information, because that, food that you're ingesting, and that information that you're processing ultimately affects your mind. You know what I'm saying? They say health is wealth. That's another one of those that really means a lot to me today.
Right.
Then you hear it and you don't, like, you're like, okay, yeah. But now it's like, now I really see it, because now I'm putting the proper information in my system, right? Feeding my cells the proper food to thrive at its highest level. All of my body systems are talking to each other, are communicating to each other on this high level. You know what I'm saying? So that raises your consciousness. You start to see things, you start to process things, you start to, even when it comes to money, okay? Like, you start to tap into your natural talents, right? You start to do things that you really love. And then instead of chasing money, the money comes to you. You see, when you in tune with the universe like you're supposed to be, then, you know, like I said, certain things are just revealed to you. You don't have to ask for them. You don't have to, you know, stress about it. I mean, you know how many times in my life, like, starting on this journey, that I got into situations and I'm like, I need money for this. I don't know where it's coming from. And I go to my mailbox and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
know that. Yeah, I've had that happen many times.
and I'm one of those people that don't like to ask for anything from anybody, because I hate the old people. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. So I try to do things on my own, or I just, you know, try to treat people the way that I want to be treated, with love and respect and all of that stuff. And when I get into certain situations, I'm just like, all right, you know, I just gotta keep being who I am, and you know, it's gonna work its way out. But a lot of times it may not. But I'm also at a place mentally, spiritually, that I can accept the good and the bad, because you can't have life without it.
Right.
You know, it's like the woman and the man. Like, without the woman and the man, you can't create life. You can't sustain life.
Right.
You know? So that's what Ma'at is about. It's about balance. But the problem is that a lot of people do not want to deal with the negative side of the balance, right? But a lot of times in that negative side of the balance, you have that positive side that you can find that positive. You know what I'm saying? So everything is a lesson to me. You know, whether it's good or bad, it's a lesson. But
I agree.
This type of mental clarity and consciousness and spiritualness, it raises when you put the right information in your body, and then you're there. You know what I mean?
And we are energy beings. Yeah, we are energy beings.
Yes.
Our bodies are electrical, just like a voltage. We really are. So you have to put living foods into a living body.
That's right.
That's important. I think for most people, the key is to take baby steps. It takes 90 days to change a habit. Start with elimination of one food at a time. Do an elimination process.
That's right.
Don't try to jump all in at one time, because I think that's where a lot of us fail. We try to jump all in, start eliminating, give it 90 days, and then eliminate again. I mean, if you were to go in to see an immunologist about allergies, that's what they do. They'll work you with all kinds of things. You have an allergy, and then they give you the elimination process and then reintroduce. But this is not about reintroducing bad foods that go into the body. It's about eliminating those foods that they not use, can't tolerate, and the good energetic foods, the living foods that we need to keep going. And we can do that if we just give ourselves some time and take those baby steps you can get to the big broad picture. How did you do there? Did you just jump in, or did you do an elimination first?
Well, you know what? I kind of just jumped right in. But like I said, I was already vegan, so it's not like, you know, I was kind of like, I guess, halfway there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you already had a platform that you started. You had already built up, done the groundwork, in other words.
I mean, I was mentally I was already prepared to know that, you know, all right, I'm eating fruits and vegetables. I'm doing that anyway. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as a hard of a transition. But you know, even if you start like that, it can be tough depending on who you are, because you know, cravings and stuff like that. And that's the thing, like we take in a lot of unnatural sugar, right? And your body is calling for
Yeah.
that unnatural sugar. So a lot of times we still tend to eat those things that we're not supposed to eat. But I want to say this too, also with Usha Village, which is the village in Honduras where a lot of people go get healing and stuff like that. Sometimes it's best to go cold turkey. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we straddle the fence, and a lot of times the way I look at it like this is like, if you think about like a drug addict, right? If a drug addict, instead of going cold turkey and just detoxing and dealing with the physical pain that they have to go through, because a lot of times with this lifestyle, we didn't talk about it yet, but I wanted to talk about fasting and detoxing.
I
But
was about to ask.
when you're fasting and detoxing, you're gonna feel worse before you feel better,
That's right.
because all that junk that you've been eating is starting to come out of everywhere, every orifice on your body, your face, you know, I mean, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ears, your skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I veered off again.
And
What were we talking about?
no, truly, you have to get through that detox process. It's called herxing, and you've got to get through it. Detoxing is not a bad thing. Feeling bad while you're getting through it is what's naturally going to happen until the body can purge and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's important. That's what you were talking about.
Oh yeah, and I was talking about Usha Village. Thank you.
Yeah.
Usha Village is the village where you can go heal for however long I guess you want to be there. And that's in Honduras. When you go there, you go on cold turkey. You know what I mean? Like because they feed you, they house you, they feed you. You drink the thermal waters that's there and stuff like that. So you go on cold turkey. Like once you make that decision, like, all right, I'm going there, I'm paying my money, I'm going there. You got to be mentally prepared for that. Like, I'm not going to be able to eat the cake and the candy and the soda and the white rice and all, the pasta and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess it depends. What I'm saying is it kind of like depends on the person. Like some people can go cold turkey. Some people, they transition. I have people like that, people that I'm showing now, the lifestyle or whatever. And, I've introduced them to our group and stuff, family and friends and people that I just meet, just out. We get on a conversation and we start talking about food. And once we get on this, it's like, I could talk about this,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much forever. I don't know everything. Like I said, I do not know everything. I'm not no doctor. I'm not no herbalist, nothing like that. I just know some information.
And yeah, we do need to clarify that none of us are.
Right.
We're just here having a conversation about a specific program. So check with your doctor, check with your herbalist, your nutritional person, whomever you want to check with. We just want to put that disclaimer out there.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.